Most business owners are still giving away PDFs to get leads for their business. And honestly, that approach still does work. But in 2026, there's a newer, smarter approach, and you likely have everything that you already need in order to get started. If you've never heard of the term lead magnet before, it's just something that you give away for free in exchange for someone's contact information. It could be a checklist, a guide, a free quote tool, but the most common version that you'll see around the internet are simple PDF documents. In fact, you've probably downloaded one yourself. But the problem is with documents like that, people download them, but they often never read them. And if they do read it, they may not actually contact you and convert from being just a lead to a customer. So even though you have their contact information and you can reach out to them, you may actually never hear from them ever again. But here's what I see is actually changing in marketing for businesses and consumers. People used to want information, but now they want answers. Their answers for their specific situation. And AI has made that possible. So instead of handing someone a 10-page PDF document and hoping that they find what they need, you can now give them a tool that actually talks back and has a conversation with them. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a custom AI lead capture assistant using your own business data and intellectual property that qualifies your leads, answers their questions, and collects their contact information before you ever even get on a call with them. Now, what I'm about to show you doesn't require any fancy coding. In fact, it doesn't require any coding at all. And you don't need a big budget either. In fact, everything that I'm going to show you today will all be on free accounts that I've created. And if you follow the instructions here in this video, it should only take you an afternoon to get set up. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Josiah Jones, and I've been working with clients and business owners for over 15 years, and I've helped my clients capture millions of dollars in revenue from their websites using simple marketing strategies and systems. In this video, you're going to learn how to get more leads for your business and qualify those leads using your own intellectual property and knowledge. We can help to guide them to the next step by asking a series of questions to help us start a conversation with that prospect. What if you had an AI assistant that could ask them a few simple and smart questions, such as what their project is, or where they're located, how urgent the project might be, or what the rough scope of the project is? And then the AI assistant can help give them a quote or provide them with the next steps. And the person who's just gone through it, they're no longer a cold lead. They're a warm, qualified prospect who now trusts you because you gave them real value. So this is what we're going to be building today. I'm going to be creating what I call a project budget and readiness estimator. And this can work for all types of businesses, from remodelers and roofers and landscapers to med spas and photographers and coaches, and any service business where one of the first questions that your customers have is, what's this going to cost me? So let me show you exactly how to actually build this thing. We're going to be using a tool called Pickaxe in order to create our custom AI assistant that will live on your website. Now, before we actually dive into Pickaxe and create the chatbot, it's important to have an understanding of exactly what you want it to do and the results that you want it to deliver. So for this example, I'm going to have this project estimator ask a series of questions like what type of service the user is looking for, where they're located, how urgent the project is, what the current situation is, and the rough scope of the project, as well as any time or budget constraints that we need to know about. And then the chat assistant will provide a budget range and provide the user with next steps. So I recommend that you get all of this stuff ready and written down, and you get clear on exactly what you want it to do before you get started, but I'll walk you through each step of the way. So what you need to do is go to pickaxe.co, and this is the website that you'll see. You'll find a link below the video in the description, and just simply create a free account. You don't need to pay to create an account. And once you log in, we're just going to click this button that says New Pickaxe. Now, as you can see here, I've already got a few things created, but I'm going to make this new one together with you so you can see exactly what I do every step of the way. So once you start creating a new pickaxe, it will put you inside of this builder mode, and it's really simple. On the left-hand side, you have all of the configurations, and this is where you're going to build everything. And on the right-hand side is where the chat preview lives. So this is where you can test it as you go and see if everything is working as you want it to. So you can continually test it before you publish it. So the first step is creating the system prompt. Now, this is kind of like half of the brain of your AI assistant. Now, the other half is going to be in the knowledge base, but we'll get to that later. For now, we want to make sure that we're configuring a prompt that is specific to your business that will allow you to gather the correct information you need to provide a custom answer to your visitors. So like I said, for this project, we're going to be building an estimator tool. And so we'll start by just naming the chatbot up here. Just type where it says untitled chat, and we're going to give it a name. Okay, the next step is clicking on this prompt tab to make sure you're in the prompt field, and then click on role. The role is the main prompt that you want to have installed in your AI assistant. And the structure that I recommend is to give it a persona and telling the AI who it is, and give it a goal by telling it what you're trying to accomplish. And then also give it some sort of conversational flow, like how you want it to run the conversation, and an output format. So give it some sort of example. Of how you'd like it to answer questions, so that it follows your structure more consistently every time. And finally, to place some sort of guardrails or constraints so that it knows what not to do. Now, I've prepared a bunch of files and prompts ahead of time so that we're not going to create all of this together in real time. That would take far too long. Instead, what I'm going to do is just copy paste some of the prompts and some of the things into this builder here, and we'll test it together to see if it's working the way that I had intended it to. I haven't actually tested it yet, so we are still building in real time together. I'm just not building all the prompts and gathering all these prompts, but I will show you what they are and we'll walk through them together. By the way, if you want to learn more about how to build AI tools and marketing systems like this one, I have a new community for business owners where you can access all the prompts and the behind the scenes insights and tips from this experiment and all the other experiments that you'll see on this channel. So click the link below to join the party, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Okay, so like I said, I've created the prompts already separately. So like I've said, I've already created all the prompts and everything. I'm just going to paste them in. Here's the prompt that I created. Now, if you scroll beyond the role, the next thing that we can see is that we have the option of choosing different AI models. Now, what I recommend at this point is Gemini 3 Flash. It's the fastest and the smartest for what it's capable of at this time, and it's extremely cheap, and it has a really big context window. So lots of great features with Gemini 3 Flash. For now, I recommend that. And then for capabilities, we don't need all of these different features, so I'm just going to close these capabilities, and we are going to add an introduction. So under introductions, there's the ability to add an intro message and generate icebreakers. An intro message is basically what your chatbot says right away whenever someone opens it up and sees it. So I'm just going to copy an example intro message that I created. Okay, so after some quick formatting, here's what it looks like. You can see I've added these BRs to create a line break. Now, I know I said no code, and this is technically the smallest amount of code I could ever imagine, but basically what this is a line break at the end of the sentence to force it to create a new line. If my screen were a little bit taller, you'd be able to see this entire introduction message in full whenever you open the window. What I do want to do is change this, what would you like to talk about? And that would be up here under this next section. If we scroll up and go to the next tab that says configure. Under configure, you can add an image. This way, it immediately feels a little bit more human, like you're not chatting to a robot, but you see a smiling human face looking back at you. And then what would you like to talk about? You could say, tell us more about your outdoor project, or something like that, right? And then that will just be there anytime someone sees this chatbot. Now, I just remembered that there's one other thing that I forgot. If you go back over to prompt and go all the way down to the bottom, there's this model reminder tab. And if we open that, this is basically an additional prompt that you can set for the chatbot so that it always reads this extra prompt every single time before it replies. That way you remind it to reply a specific way each time, or give it a specific set of rules so that it remembers each time it replies. So I'm going to copy and paste in a sample of a model reminder that I'd like this to have. So here are some important rules. If you're unsure, say what you're assuming and recommend the next step. Quote ranges only, never fixed price. Keep questions short and ask them one at a time. Do not invent local regulations or permit requirements. So this is just a quick model reminder to give it some extra context as a secondary backup prompt. Right, now we're going to go back over to configure, and there are some extra tabs here. We will add some information to this word bias. So I've pasted some words to use and some words to avoid inside of each of these different fields. So for example, we want to use words like budget range, ballpark, starting range. What we don't want to say is cheap, cheapest, guaranteed, exact price, things like that, right? We don't want to use scare tactics or shame or anything like that. So this helps to even further refine how you train your AI chatbot. So this randomness bar is also kind of like its creativity. So if you put it at 1, then it will be as creative as possible, and it might not follow your instructions very well. If you put it all the way at 0.4, then it will follow your instructions to a T, but it may not provide the most helpful information to each individual prospect because it's trying to stick to the script. So I recommend anywhere between 0.6 and 0.8. So I'll stick with 0.7 today. And then we'll go ahead and scroll up to the next section. So now we want to add our knowledge base, right? And in order to do that, we have to connect some files and then give it some additional context about when to use those files. So again, I've created several files for us to upload into the knowledge base so that we don't have to do all of that together in real time, but I will go ahead and add them into Pickaxe by clicking Connect Files. Then it's going to ask me where I want to pull those files from, and I'll just say a text file, and then it gives me the option to drag and drop. So for the knowledge base, when you're on the free plan in Pickaxe, you can only upload 3 files maximum. Otherwise, you'll have to upgrade your plan. So I've consolidated some of the files that I created into 3 specific TXT files so that they're really simple and fast and easy to read for the AI tool. And I'm going to upload those 3 files now. So basically, they're all really simple documents. The first one is a pricing reference document, and it talks about the cost of different hard surfaces or turf and softscaping. Lots of cost and pricing information here, just for estimates' sake. And then some more information about how we want the AI to chat and any information about locations. And then next, we've got some frequently asked questions and some objection handling information. And then finally, we have some more rules on budget. And we're just going to add all of those into the knowledge base and turn them on. And then this way, the AI chatbot will be able to use the prompt from this. So these are the instructions, and then it will use the knowledge from over here in order to provide accurate, detailed information. And then once again, you have the option to add additional context about how and when to use this knowledge base and all of this information. So I'm just going to copy a few more notes into this context that will be relevant for this particular AI assistant. Basically what I'm saying is that we prefer the knowledge base numbers over general advice. We want to be able to provide as close to accurate information as possible. And then if it's a really complex project, then recommend an on-site consultation. Okay, so now we've got the knowledge base set up, and just a few important notes to share with you about the knowledge base is I recommend using plain text files or documents whenever possible because they're easier for the AI to read than image-based PDF documents. Also, keep each document focused where possible. Don't upload your entire website or your entire company history or brochure. For each different AI assistant you use, you want to keep the knowledge as specific and pertinent to that particular tool as possible. All right, so now we've uploaded the prompt and the knowledge, and we have as much information in here as we can. Before we add any specific actions to it, I want to just test this AI chatbot out and see how it's working right now. So I'm just going to close the editor by clicking on this pencil icon, and then we can just see the entire chatbot. And so what we see here is the introduction message that we had previously set. And the first question is, what type of outdoor project are you planning? So let's go ahead and type in paver patio and artificial turf. And let's see what it gives back. It says, to get started with an estimate, roughly how many square feet are you looking to have for the paver patio? Let's say it's going to be 10 by 20, so 200 square feet. All right. And let's see how it responds. Roughly how many square feet of artificial turf are you looking to add? So let's say this is going to be 50 by 20. So this will be 1,000 square feet. So just want to have some grass and a little patio. So it says, got it. 200 square feet of pavers and 1,000 square feet of turf. To make the estimate more accurate, is there any existing concrete, grass, or rock in those areas we would need to demo or haul away first? It's all clear. Okay, so it took a little bit of time, but here it comes back and it says, since the area is clear and ready for prep, we can focus on the installation costs for pavers and turf. Based on your dimensions and the Phoenix Metro market rates, here's a project estimate. And then it says, budget range between 10 and 17 grand. The site conditions are clear, as you mentioned. Standard equipment to access the backyard, materials, ground. If your budget is X, here's what you. If your budget is closer to 10,400, you can get these pavers, this type of turf with this design. Or if your budget is closer to 17,000, you can get the premium texture turf, the premium pavers, the plush turf, and these extra add-ons. And then recommended next steps. Since you have clear dimensions and a clean site, the best next step is to schedule a brief discovery call or send over a few photos of the yard. This allows us to verify access and provide more refined quote before an on-site measurement. Would you like to provide your email address so a member of our team can reach out to see those photos and discuss the next steps? And then you can see here it's got the disclaimer. This is an educational budget range, not a formal bid. Final pricing depends on site conditions, material selection, and local requirements. Timelines are not guaranteed until a contract is signed and materials are confirmed. So yeah, we've kind of pressure tested this a little bit. We've just gotten a brief understanding of how this works and if it's working. So now we can do some refinements and some adjustments, right? So under the prompt, we might say that Gemini 3 Flash is just a little bit too slow, which it did seem a little slow. So maybe we want to use a different model that's a little bit faster. Next, maybe you want to make some adjustments to the way that it answered. So for example, the way that it says, if your budget is X, here's what you get. I might phrase that differently. So for example, we could come in here and change that if we wanted to right here, because it literally says, if your budget is X, here's what you get, and then a breakdown. We could change a few different things to optimize and improve this system. For now, we're going to reset the chat and we're going to set some actions. What we're going to do is to add an email action. And basically all we want to do is send a summary email to the owner. So all you have to do is add your email right here and then the name of the tool here. So this would be the project budget and readiness estimator. And I'll just go ahead and put my email here blurred out for you. And then we'll click connect. So now that this is set up and connected, we're going to try one more time to get this information at least sent to me so that I get a notification whenever somebody uses this chatbot. It may not be added to the CRM automatically, but if we get a notification, that's great. So we're just going to test this out with some dummy data. I'm going to try to provide as much information as I can up front so it doesn't ask me more questions. I'll say, I'm looking for a turf that's solely for aesthetics, outdoors, 10 by 10 on it, currently all flat prepared dirt. And then my name is Joe, my email is joe123@example.com, and my phone number is 987-654-3210. Please contact me as soon as possible. All right, now let's see how many questions it's going to ask. Hopefully it doesn't ask a lot of questions. I was trying to front load it with information so that it doesn't ask me more questions. Oh wow, look at that. It actually answered all my questions. So now let's see if we actually got the email. Okay, perfect. It did send an email to my inbox, which is great. And it didn't send the entire estimate that it sent to the user either. Instead, it just sent me a summary. All of this information was relayed just 1 minute ago. And I've got the contact information of a lead right in my inbox, ready to contact. So just like that, we can have an AI chatbot that's actually working to convert conversations into leads, into bookings. So now all we have to do is actually embed this on our website so that people can access it, and it works anytime people see it. So to do that, we're going to go back over to Pickaxe, and we're going to click Update and Close since we've got it in a working state that we're happy with now. And then we're going to close and get back out of this. And from here, you click on this button that says Create Deployment. And we're going to click this option that says Embed. And then we can embed it onto a website. Now, when you create an embedded chatbot, you have a few different ways of embedding it on your website. You can have it be either just always on the page, and so you can just send people to a page or a part of a page that has this just preloaded, or it can be kind of as this action button in the lower right hand corner so that they click it to open it, or it could be a pop-up or a chat input. So we've got all these different options that we could choose from. So for this particular option, I'm going to click inline iframe. Basically, all that you need to do here is you can update your colors and all of the different things that you want to update. So for example, if you want this to be a dark chat, you can change this to a dark chat. You can change all of your colors here. I'm just going to keep this really simple and leave it as is. You can change the font size if you want. Again, like I said, I'm just going to leave this super simple. So we'll just go ahead and save it like this. Click on the Save and Embed button. And then once we have this embedded element, click on this Share button, and under General Websites is fine. All we have to do is copy this code. So click on this copy button or select and highlight and copy. So now all we have to do is add it to a website. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so I'm just in WordPress and I've created a new page, and I've just called it the Project Budget and Readiness Estimator Demo, and I'll just go ahead and publish this, and then once that's ready to go, we'll click Edit with Elementor. Okay, that's published. Click Edit with Elementor, and it will begin taking us into the Elementor editor, and from here, it's really simple. We're just going to copy the code and paste it into an HTML element. Okay, so now here in the Elementor editor, we're just going to search for the HTML widget and then drag this in and drop it and open that up by clicking on the pink pencil icon, and then you can edit the code. And so you basically just paste the code that was given to you from Pickaxe, and then we'll publish this. And then from there we can preview what we've done. And now we can see this Project Estimator tool living on our website, and we can chat with it just like we did inside of Pickaxe. And now anytime anybody on the website actually comes here to chat with this and get an estimate, we'll get an email with their contact information as soon as they've completed the chat. So this is how you create an effective, engaging lead magnet that beats the PDF every single time. A PDF gives everyone the same information, but an assistant like this gives everyone personalized answers based on their specific situation. A PDF might just sit in the downloads folder for weeks or months or years without ever being touched. But this chat assistant sends you an email immediately, which means you have their contact information and they have a reason to remember you. And lastly, a PDF document doesn't really qualify your prospects, but an assistant like this tells you exactly what kind of project they have, what their budget is, and whether or not they're ready to move forward before you ever even get on a call. So if you've been following along and building this alongside me, great, that's awesome. But if you haven't, before you go off and build this for yourself, I just want to share a couple mistakes that you can avoid. When you're creating your Pickaxe, what I recommend is if you're going to create something like this, it's a mistake to not include an output format. You want to always give it some sort of example of how you would prefer that it responds to messages. Another mistake is not capturing the lead. The whole point of having a lead magnet like this is to capture the contact information of leads and visitors on your website. If you don't connect this to an email system, then you're just providing a free estimation tool without any way to follow up. So don't skip this step. And lastly, having a super generic introduction like, "Hi, how are you?" or "Hi, how can we help you today?" That's not really going to help your business at all. So you want to make sure that you're providing a detailed introduction that guides people to the next step and tells them how easy it's going to be so that they feel reassured they're not going to invest a whole lot of time or energy into something like this. So to wrap things up, I'll just say that the truth is that businesses that win with lead magnets aren't the ones that have the prettiest PDFs and documents. They're the ones that give their prospects real value. And a great way to do that in 2026 is to provide a personalized and customized experience. A tool like this Project Budget and Readiness Estimator does exactly that. It qualifies your leads, delivers real value, and captures their contact information, and hands them off to you ready to move forward. If you want help building one of these, or if you want to see how this fits into a broader lead generation strategy, I'd love to talk. Just click the link in the description below to book a discovery call, and I look forward to chatting with you. Otherwise, thanks so much for taking your time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment and do all the things, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. All right, see ya.